Thank you so much, Megan. Rashanda. Hello.
Hi.
I'm excited to have you here. How are you feeling? How are you coming into this space today?
I'm feeling really good. Can you hear me? Does the volume sound okay? All right. Yeah, I'm feeling good. I'm here in the office in McLean, right outside of DC. So I am excited to be here with you, Sienna.
Thames here. And I'm really excited as well, just because I know that there are so many of our listeners right now who are so excited and ready to listen and hear about your expertise, your experience, both at Salesforce and outside. And so I want to just dive right into it. For those who might not know you, could you tell us a little bit about yourself and your career journey of how you've gotten to where you are now, where you are today?
Yeah, well, first off, I like to tell people that I started my career in sales as a Girl Scout. My grandmother had me in Girl Scouts at her church, and I loved the competition. I loved, getting out there, selling cookies, and seeing how I matched up against my peers. So I have literally spent my career in sales. My professional career started in pharmaceuticals, so I was with GlaxoSmithKline, and Bristol Myers Squibb, and then after a layoff. I used LinkedIn to connect with a colleague who was at Oracle at the time. And I worked my way from an inside sales rep to my current role as a regional vice president here at Salesforce. And I've been here for 5 years since January of 2020. And I'll say, like, my passion really lies in, helping, and my team specifically covers local government, so every city and county across the United States, and really helping those organizations leverage Salesforce to drive success, and then create impact in their communities. Outside of work, and I love to just add this in, I am a proud mom of a junior in high school who is she's an all-state tennis player. So I really love watching her compete and grow both on and off the court. That is, just been one of my greatest joys. And outside of that, I'm also a certified yoga instructor. So I really believe in the power of mindfulness and movement and, using your free time to really decompress. And so in my free time, you can find me at brunch. I like live music or spending time with my family and friends.
I love this. And I mean, talking about all state, but then also talking about the fact that you're a vice president. I think that's just so important and aligned with our entire summit because less than 2% of vice presidents in corporate are Black women. So, number one, I just want to snap to you because I think that that's really amazing. And I think, especially as a lot of the individuals who are watching today are really talking about and centering how do we amplify Black excellence. Of course, I think it's so important to hear about your lived experience at Salesforce as well, because I know equality is a core value at Salesforce. And so you spoke a little bit about this, but why does that matter to you personally? And then also, what does Black excellence look like at practice and in practice at Salesforce?
To be honest, I'm asked this question quite often. And I can say even in like interviews, when someone's coming in and they're interviewing, they ask a lot about our core values. And equality being a core value here at Salesforce, what impressed me is it wasn't just a statement, right? You can tell just by looking around, peruse on LinkedIn, go to a networking event and look at the people who work here at Salesforce. You can tell that it truly matters in practice. And as a Black woman in sales leadership, right, tech sales leadership, I know firsthand that representation, access, advocacy is what really makes all the difference in how you can grow in your career and the success that you can see. So personally, for me, Black excellence, I mean, I talked a little bit about my daughter. Black excellence to me isn't just about individual success. It really is for me about creating culture where, I'm uplifting the people around me. I'm supporting and empowering other people that not only look like me, but that are allies, right? So that doors continue to remain open for the people who are coming behind me. I was once the 20-year-old who was at Bristol Myers Squibb or at Glaxo trying to find my way. And what happens is sometimes it's difficult to find mentors, or people who look like you. And so here at Salesforce, the investment in equality has really been tangible. I've been able to find other women in leadership roles. Now, they may not be sales leadership, but they're in leadership, right? So they can identify with some of the things that I'm experiencing and going through. Also, I mean, I have been sponsored to go to like the Women of Power Summit, you know, that like, so Salesforce will send me to that. And, you know, I think that that is part of, you know, like Black excellence, because it allows you to be around others who look like you, to, you know, be refreshed and renewed, you know, so that you feel like you can keep going for, you know, the day in, day out. And so that investment is really tangible. And I also have, you know, had the opportunity to mentor and sponsor others. You know, in my organization, you know, there's lots of people who are looking to get promoted into full cycle sales. And, you know, they're looking for mentors, they're looking for sponsors. And so I have been able to serve as that to others. And then, just because I just mentioned mentors and sponsors, I do want to talk a little bit about the difference between the two. Because again, I think that lends to Black excellence, right? That a mentor is somebody who can provide guidance, right? That's somebody who, you know, they can navigate through some challenges. They can share some wisdom. That's what a mentor is. Then you need sponsors. And a sponsor is someone who actively advocates for you when the door is closed, right? Like, you're in the room and they can advocate for you. And so I have served as a sponsor for some, I've served as a mentor to others, and both are critical. But I will say that, like, sponsorship is what has helped to accelerate my career. And it's something that I feel that I have been able to help others who have come behind me to accelerate their careers as well. And I you know, and say, like, I feel that mentors and sponsors don't always have to look like you, but their core values have to align. So some of my mentors and sponsors have been white men, white women, Indian men, but their values were that they wanted to be a big champion in my career because they recognized my talent, they respected my work ethic, and they were committed to creating space for diverse sales professionals, leaders, et cetera. So, you know, that is what I try to be for people here at Salesforce. And again, I just think that their commitment to equality has given me the space to really lead, and be myself. I mean, most of you guys saw my picture. I mean, I wear my braids. Sometimes I wear, you know, my hair out. I can wear back, you know, it just allows me to be authentic also to who I am as a person. Like I mean, I'm telling you all about brunch and things that I like to do, but then also mindfulness in, you know, in my meetings. You know, I do incorporate breathing and meditation for my sales team, because I know that for them to show up for me day in, day out, they have to be their full selves for their families, their friends, and things like that. So I just feel like the way that Salesforce has poured into me as a, you know, when it comes to equality, I have been able to then pour into others and create this space that feels safe, like psychologically safe, where you can let your guard down, right? And to me, I think that that's what allows me to amplify Black excellence.
I love this. And I mean, you talked about so many amazing points. Number one, I hope all of you who are listening, you were taking notes, thinking about the difference between mentorship and sponsorship, but also what you were talking about in regards to not just having a seat at the table, but creating opportunities for others to be able to learn and grow in their career as well. And I loved what you had shared when you were talking about how your sponsors and or mentors found you or connected with you. I think something that's really important that you mentioned is they valued your skills, your expertise. They shared those values. And I think a lot of the audience right now has really been thinking about, what are the skills that I need to be competitive? What is that work ethic? And what are some of the things that they can be building on in their own career as well, so they can be able to grow? So I'd love to hear from you. What are some of the key skills that you're seeing as becoming even more valuable to stay competitive in a world that is slowly but surely becoming AI first? And then also, how have you been using AI also to be able to impact your sales cycle and your work?
I don't know if you see, I'm just all excited. I'm like,
I
yes,
love
yes.
it. I love it. I love it.
I'm excited because first, let me start with like a definition around agentic AI, because that is really, I mean, in the title, it's, hey, amplifying Black excellence, but then how that works here at Salesforce when it comes to like agents and AI. And agentic AI really is just artificial intelligence systems, right, that have agency. And so that means that they can actually make autonomous decisions and then take action to achieve a goal. And so I say that because there are lots of bots. Y'all have been on a bot for, you know, maybe something you're shopping for and you put something in and it may not understand you, right? Like that, it's like, I didn't really understand that question. Whereas an agent, right, the key points to an agent is that it's autonomous. So they can actually perform tasks without a human. They are, you know, trying to achieve goals. So they really have the capability to pursue outcomes, and then they're adaptable. So an agent really learns from interactions over time and they adjust. And so that's what agentic AI is, and that's why it makes me so excited. But let's go back to the first part of the question around sales. So AI or not, if you can't prospect effectively or engage with a client and tell a compelling story that has a good, you know, beginning, middle, and end, and you can like talk results, you know, what are people over here doing? So again, I lead a locals team. So we cover every city, county, across the United States. So often, like right now, we're working on a deal in Houston, and I'm based out of the DC area, but one of my reps is working on a deal in Houston. And you know, I'm like, hey, when you are giving them a story, you want to make sure that the story that you're referencing is either close in proximity or the city or county is close in size. That's how people understand, right? And so regardless of AI, you still need to be able to tell compelling stories and give results. So no AI is going to replace the ability to do that. The other piece to it is, while you're in said conversations, can you pivot in those conversations, right? So if something comes up and somebody, you know, is giving you an objection, like, can you handle that objection and pivot? Some of the other sales skills that I think are, you know, are important are time blocking, you know, time management, organization, where to focus. So while AI can assist you in automation, a good seller is going to double down on high value activities no matter what. And so they are looking to, you know, how can they use AI to speed up some of the little processes? So can they write an email? You know, in government, we're looking at RFPs or requests for proposals. You know, can you go through and summarize this RFP and make it easier for me to understand? Those are some of the things that we can use AI for. But we can't use AI when, you know, it comes to actually having a conversation. And so that conversational excellence, AI can prep you, it can give you some questions to ask, but you have to actively listen and then know how to, like I said, like, you know, handle objections and pivot appropriately with confidence in those conversations. So, you know, I think in general, like AI can help speed things up. It can help speed up your research, like I said, proposals, but it can't pick up the phone and actually make the calls or close the deal for you. Personally, I use AI as a sales coach. So we are able to, you know, record calls. I can come into that call and look at it because I have quite a few people on my team, so I can't look, you know, be on the phone with everybody. And so I can use that on, you know, Thursday, Friday to kind of come back and see, okay, somebody maybe I didn't get a chance to jump on a call with. It can summarize conversations. It can tell me things about, you know, what were some of the main things they talked about, who talked the most during that conversation. Because as a salesperson, we have two ears, one mouth, so we should be listening more than we're talking, guiding the conversation, but listening more, actively listening. And so I am using AI for sales coaching. And, you know, overall, I just think that AI can be used to amplify, but it can't replace anything. So, I mean, that's just, I mean, it's a tool, but it can't replace human excellence. You know, I think some of the best salespeople on my team are just relentless. They do, you know, they have great time management, great organization, but they use the technology to amplify their skills or to deepen their conversations and create new opportunities. But I'll take a step back. We talked about core values in one of our first questions. Equality is one of our core values, but our number one core value here at Salesforce is trust. So integrity and human connection always wins the deal. So the people who I feel can like adapt in a conversation and change with intention are the people who will be leaders.
I mean, I'm taking notes internally, and I think there's a couple of things, core things that you share that I really just want to play back for the audience as well, right? You said some of the best individuals that you've seen is using that to then focus on the high value actions, right? So using that as a tool to be able to really elevate their zone of genius, their skills, the active listening, which are things that only humans can do, but how are you using specifically agentic AI, which was fantastic. You taught me something today. Giving it agency to be able to make some of those decisions strategically versus just giving the basic answers is really what's going to allow for individuals to be able to do their job even better and excel in their career. So I love how you mentioned that when you were talking through it.
I think people think that agent is like, you know, like it's an agent that's picking up the phone. No, the agent piece is about it having agency.
Yeah. Listen, I'm gonna go to my girl ChatGPT afterwards and be like, how can I start integrating agentic AI afterwards?
Yes.
But I love it. And I think again, that delineation is so important for many people who might be listening saying, is AI going to take over my job? How do I see it as a threat versus really seeing it as something that you have in your back pocket to have you excel as a professional even more so? And I know we only have about 10 minutes left, so I want to give the audience a chance as well. If you have any specific questions for Rashanda about her work, about her experience, about her journey, feel free to drop them in the chat. I will get them as well. But I really want to hear from you, Rashanda, right now as we're wrapping up. Why is right now the right time to join Salesforce as a seller? And you talked a lot about the core values, the way that you're innovating within your team, the sponsorship, the mentorship. But tell me more. Why is now the time to join as a seller?
Funny enough, I had my team meeting earlier today, and one of my leaders came in, and I was telling everybody about jumping on this AI train and why this is so important, and that, and I won't say my age because I dyed my hair, so y'all can't tell, but
18. It's 18.
I'm 18. Years ago, when I was at another company, you know, they were talking SaaS, which is the type of company that I work for today. And we were all like, SaaS, what is that, man? Like, you know, and it, you know, I personally did not jump immediately. And AI is happening right now. So this is the time. It is the time to jump on the Salesforce AI train. There is I think that sellers and any candidates on the call today who are looking to get into tech sales, who are looking to join Salesforce, it is an incredible opportunity to be a major player. This is a global company. We are everywhere. And we are like really redefining what AI looks like in business and public sector, you know, just across the board. Now, I just think now is just such a great time to join Salesforce, especially for Black professionals, women who are looking to make an impact, and most importantly, to build generational wealth. You know, this is like, you should see some of these commission checks when we're selling something new, right? Because they often incentivize you to sell the new product, and so they're giving you more money. And so this is the opportunity to build generational wealth. It's a transformational era right now with AI and specifically with data. And so what Salesforce is doing with data to then impact AI, it really is going to redefine how businesses and government operate. And I'm excited to be in the forefront of the shift. And that's why I got excited when you asked me that question. At the end of the day, it drives efficiency and equity across a lot of these industries. I mean, we've been hearing all about all this efficiency that the government is trying to do, right? And so with that, we are selling one of those products that will help with that. It makes me excited.
I love it. And I mean, listen, I'm about to head to the careers page, check it out more, because as you're talking about it, I can just feel the authenticity in what you're saying. And also, I think you bring such an important point as well in regards to legacy, equity, ownership, generational wealth that is so important in that long-term strategic goal, and being able to hear your excitement about an organization that centers those opportunities. And so for all of you who are listening right now, I know we have a couple of questions from our audience that I'll bring to you, Rashanda, but if you are not signed up already, please sign up for our virtual job fair happening, where Salesforce will be there. So if you're as excited as I am listening to Rashanda talk about the opportunities that currently exist in the culture at Salesforce, definitely be sure to be at the virtual job fair, where you'll be able to hear even more about the opportunities that exist at the organization. And so, Rashanda, I just want to bring in one question. We might have time for one more, but I would love to hear someone in the chat ask, how can employees who are not Black or who do not identify as Black become better allies and contribute to amplifying the Black excellence that we've been talking about at Salesforce? But I think what you'll share will be relevant in general.
Okay, so this person, it sounds like they're here at Salesforce. Great question. I guess I think strong allies are not performative, right? It's not like it's active engagement, it's advocacy, it's commitment to fostering safe spaces. Those are the things that I think that strong allyship look like. Specifically here at Salesforce, I think it's, joining Bold Force. We have lots of different Bold Force events, and, joining those events to better understand some of the challenges that your Black colleagues may be facing in these spaces. I think in those spaces that, it becomes more safe, so people tend to share more. And so as an ally, if you are in those spaces, you get to then understand, without them placing like the burden back on those Black colleagues. I think another thing, kind of going back to that sponsorship piece, advocating in rooms that we're not in. So really, allyship comes when you actively uplift Black voices, and ensure that our contributions are recognized. Something that I do before I go into meetings, I have this one young lady on my team. There are only 2 female sales leaders in our org, me and her. Every time I go into a meeting, if I have an idea before I go in, I share it with her, so that when I share it in the meeting, she can double down on it. But my other piece of this is, you need to find people that you trust, because sometimes you can share something and then somebody go in and share your idea like it was theirs. So, just making sure that, these people, like you trust people. And again, I mean, going back to that sponsorship, trying to think of anything else. Speaking up, if because I mean, we all have unconscious biases. We all do. But challenging those, speaking up, whether it's in hiring conversations or promotion discussions. I think that's where we get left behind quite a bit, right? Like, it's first off getting in, and then it's the retention and the promotion. And so, I think those are some ways that allies can show up for their Black colleagues.
I love this. And I mean, again, I hope those of you who are listening are taking notes. I know I am. I'm going to have to go back and watch the recording just because you're sharing so many gems with us, Rashanda. And I mean, as we're wrapping up, I just want to ask one question. Back when we started the conversation, you were saying, I was once that 22-year-old person who was just getting started in my career. So if you had, I know we're only 18, but if you had to go back and give your younger self advice in regards to your career and your journey to where you are today, what would be one piece of advice you would give yourself?
Well, first off, I would start by saying, hey, girlfriend, happy Black History Month. You made it through January. 1. 2, then I would say, girl, I'm so proud of you. You belong at those tables that you sit at. And the way that you show up allows other people to pull their seat up as well. And so, again, really do believe that it's not about individual success. And when I was 22, I didn't care about anybody else. It was really about me. And now I really do understand the importance of collective progress.
And with that, thank you, Rashanda. I got chills. I'm sure many of the people watching in the audience did as well. This was such an amazing conversation. I got excited to learn more about Salesforce and all of the amazing opportunities on your team. So again, for those of you who are watching, be sure to attend a virtual job fair where you will be able to connect and hear more about opportunities at Salesforce. And Rashanda, thank you so much. I know that the individuals who are listening and tuning in today, we're taking notes and also feeling very inspired and motivated on how can they take what you learned today to also be able to help them in their professional and personal journey as well.
Well, thank you. I really enjoyed the conversation. Hopefully someone was able to take one nugget, put it into practice. I am on LinkedIn, Rashanda Grimes. Feel free to connect. And I will be honest, I do try to carve out, a couple hours every other week to connect with, mentees and things of that nature. But things get kind of busy in sales, so please forgive me in advance if, I haven't gotten back to you, but just reach out again.
I love it. I'm sure that people will be prepared for your LinkedIn to blow up. So we appreciate you, Rashanda, and we can't wait to have you back at another summit sometime soon.
Thank you. Talk to you later.
Soon.